The record button didn't work for all of that. Isn't that sad? Oh, well,
No.
it's on now. Thank you, Nicole, for letting me know. It's on now. So, hey, everybody, welcome. Too bad you missed the best stuff, but we love you anyway. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. And Shirley, what I would like to ask of you, this is Shirley Riddle up here, and I had the pleasure of doing an interview with her, with Kathy Gobble, who is also a gem and a frontline leader with me. She doesn't get to speak to us too often because in Georgia, they have terrible internet. And so every time Kathy will speak, you will see her lips move, and about 2 minutes later, the sound comes out. So we have to do something to help her eventually, right? Somebody move to Georgia who knows how to put internet in the woods and make it work, okay? So anyway, we were talking to Shirley, and Kathy was telling me Shirley has an amazing testimony. Now, tonight, I think I said this, didn't I? This webinar is called The Power of Our Testimony. And many of you may or may not know, but over the last, I think it's been at least 4 years, maybe longer, the FDA came down on companies that were natural alternatives. And they said, well, you can't say this, excuse me, and you can't say that, you can't say flu, you can't say cold, you can't say pain, you can't say headache, da 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 da. So when it comes to social media, we have been quashed in that area. But that's why Lisa is here. I have my private Zoom account, and what I say to the FDA and everybody who tries to zip our lips is this. Okay, so we're here tonight to share our testimonies because they are so powerful. So Shirley, may I ask, would you get us started and share the testimony with us that brought you to doTERRA and was one of the reasons you said, hey, I might want to do this as a business? Go ahead.
Yes, and I'm going through that bad connection, so I hope I won't. Do I have to say the good, the bad, and the ugly?
The good, the bad.
And the ugly? Do I have to include the ugly?
Well,
I'm going to, because I didn't share this with you in our interview. So it
okay.
all started a few years ago. I don't know if Linda Murphy's on here yet, but she was going to get on the Zoom because she was one of my guardian angels that brought me to you, as well as many other things. Several years ago, I was going through a bad divorce. I was trying to get out of physical abuse, and I got sick, and I didn't know what it was. And I kept going to the doctor and going to the doctor, and it was days where they wanted to give me a prescription to cover up something to make it go away, but didn't know what it was.
Okay.
And just one thing led to another, and I struggled for several months. And I went to I forgot what he was, a specialist in something. Anyway, they put me through every test you can think of. I got so sick of scopes, drawing blood, giving me reports, telling me, well, I can't explain why this has happened. But to make it a little bit shorter, my body was shutting down. My organs were, one by one. They would treat me for one thing. It would cover up something I felt like, and it would just roller coaster into something else. About 8 months I went through that. And at the same time, going through a horrible divorce. And they even started sending me to a cancer clinic because they couldn't find out what was causing. One organ would be okay, and then the next one would start going downhill. And of course, I had a medicine cabinet overrunning, and you can imagine the medical bills. And they started taking. That was when they found out I had hemochromatosis, which is a hereditary blood disorder, and Caucasians, that's what we carry, and I tested positive. So they started doing the cancer thing and doing the blood draws like every 3 or 4 weeks. And every time I would go and they'd take blood, something else would flare up. And then the bills came in from the cancer because insurance doesn't pay for you to go there to dispose of your blood. But at one point at this cancer center, when I went in, it's like we don't we don't know what's causing this, because it would go back and forth. And a little testimony about Jesus in that. I was on the way one day. The doctor had told me that one day I went in there and he says, all I can say is, we can't explain this and we can't continue treating you because it's not working, but you need to go home and get your things in order. This was like 8, 9 years ago, maybe.
Wow.
And just on the way the next day, I would have to go one day. They would check my potassium. If it was okay that day, then I had to come back the next day and they would check it again. And if it was okay, they would take the pint of blood out. And I went in this one day and that was the day he told me to get my things in order. They ended up taking out my gallbladder. That didn't solve it. I can't remember what the other tests were they did. They all had names. But I looked down in my glove box real quick one day, and on the way I was crying and praying on the way to that cancer doctor, because I was so afraid they were going to tell me it was a cancer. But because they just the way they kept treating me. And I looked down and there was a little cassette player. Anybody know what cassette tapes are?
Oh,
My
yeah.
car had it. So I thought it was when somebody had recorded, and I popped it into the tape player on my car as I was crying and praying, and a song came on. Surely there must be just one more miracle for me.
Oh, I love it.
And I mean, that was a turning point in my life. This was after my gallbladder was taken out, and finally got the evil person out of my home. And things. It was a long process, but somebody reached out to me and says, you've been trying all this. Have you tried essential oils? I had no clue what essential oils were. So she called a friend of hers who is with another company, and she drove and met me and brought me some of their oils.
Wow.
And I can tell you what I took. Well, a bottle, it was oka tea, and then some other oils, and lemongrass was one of the main ones. But I was taking that for a while, and I was seeing things gradually get better. And I went back for a checkup. I don't know how long it had been, but I started on the lemongrass and oka tea. And I got back to that doctor's office. I had to go one more time, and I got to that elevator. And I said, God, you put me on this earth. And if you're going to take me out of this earth, I'm going to go down fighting. And I am walking those steps. I could not walk steps, but I walked up 3 flights of stairs to get to my doctor's office. And I opened the door, and it's like, wow, I'm not out of breath. I'm not hurting. So then came my precious friend, Linda Murphy, who is one of Kathy's friends. And Linda says, hey, if you need to come to my house, I'm having a doTERRA party. And it was like, okay, I've been taking this other stuff. And I felt like it was okay. But I went to her party and I learned about the doTERRA, and I have been stuck on doTERRA ever since. I tell all my doctors I'm a doTERRA addict, and if you don't like it, you have to deal with it. In my doTERRA, it was like, I could save my, and I started ordering. I signed up through Linda with Kathy that night, I think it was. But I stay on a good regime. I was having aneurysms pop up. And I don't like to talk about this, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it because they told me to get my stuff in order. And to me, that was my notice that you're only going to be here a short time. And I think there was a point, you know, and I don't have it. It's not mine. I don't claim it, but I believe my lemongrass and all the other oils, frankincense, you hit my heart with the frankincense because Kathy turned me on to that real quickly. But as the time went by, it was a process, and as the time went by, I stayed faithful. I probably overdid it for y'all's opinion, but I would take my capsules and I would put 7 drops of lemongrass, 7 drops of lemon. Oh, and I didn't forget the others that I put in there. There was 2 more, and I wanted to remember, but I took them every day. I didn't take them 2 or 3 times a day, but I took 4 different oils and frankincense and lemongrass and lemon. That's 3 of them. And I forgot what the 4th one is, but I took them every day, nonstop. And within a matter of weeks, well, the lemongrass after day 5, that's when I saw the difference in the body. I hurt so bad, my entire body. And I noticed it was getting better and better. And here I'm about to turn 69, and I'm still walking stairs like crazy. But I believe my oils. I believe the oils is what's turned all this around. The aneurysms, yes, they're still there, but they're still not mine. I'm still working, pretty healthy. I live a very stressful life with things around me, and I hate to code it. And I don't know what else to tell you except that if I miss a day of my oil, I see a difference. And that bad 4-letter word you said, busy, that's my worst enemy.
Yeah.
So if you're taking oils, don't skip. Let something else go. Don't skip. But I tell everybody what it's done for me. And of course, you get those, it doesn't work. You're imagining that. But I know it works. And now my O's is itching like crazy. They say company's coming. I don't want company. It's bedtime at my house shortly in a little while.
And you've got company coming?
And that's what they say when your nose itches. You said, Mom, that means you have company coming. That was an old wives' tale. But I feel better. I still struggle. I still have some issues that come and go. But like you said, you got to find that right combination.
That's right.
And if I know Kathy calls you constantly for me, but I'm learning each day. I don't know. I think I've been taking the oil for about 6 or 7 years now.
And you're still here, Shirley. Are your affairs in order?
I'm
grateful.
here and I'm going to be here,
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
I know I'm a fighter, but I did, I think prayer had a lot to do with it because I did. I cried every time, and I had nobody to go with me. I didn't tell my family all that was going on, because I didn't want one to know what I was going through trying to get that divorce, and then all this medical at the same time. And hey, I count my blessings every day.
Hey, we count them too.
More than I can count.
Yeah. Yes. So your pain, Shirley, that you were telling us about, you noticed a difference after 5 days. What's it like for you now? I mean, if you were at, let's say, 10 on the pain scale and you've stayed consistent with your oils, where are you now?
Pretty close to a 1. I mean, hardly ever. I don't really have any body pains. Now, if I go out and lift lumber or something like that out in the yard, I'll get some sore muscles or something, but that's not pain. That pain was from head to toe and doesn't stop. The only thing I have right now is like neuropathy in the feet and the hands. And if I ever get the right combination for that, I know that's going to be gone too.
We'll figure it out. We have some protocols for that too. We'll figure it out. So anyway, Shirley, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us. It's powerful what's happened in your life. So yay!
Thank you.
All right. So listen, I promise, because I try to make this fun every time I'm here. I have a lemongrass to give away. Let me think. What should I make somebody do to win the lemongrass? Is there anybody there who has ideation really fast? What should we do? Tell me which oil you use every day. The first one to do it wins lemongrass. Who?
On guard.
Woohoo, Debbie! Debbie win lemongrass. Yay! I love On Guard. Wahoo. Okay. Thank you very much. So one oil down. We have 4 more speakers. I have 4 more oils to go. So next, I'd like to introduce to you again, Nicole DeLello, and she's going to tell us a testimony regarding her daughter. So please, Nicole, take it away.
Hi, actually my testimony does involve my daughter, but it involves myself too.
Wahoo! Okay.
This is the reason why I got so passionate about oils. So this is actually my second experience with oils. My first experience with doTERRA was with my kids. My second one was for my own health. I was pretty much almost all my life, since I started on my menstrual cycle, I've had really bad cramps, to the point where I was like a whole day in bed, vomiting, sometimes almost fainting. I don't want to go into more details. It was other stuff too, but it was pretty bad. And I didn't want to take over-the-counter stuff. I didn't want to try, a lot of times doctors will tell you to do birth control. That's usually their answer for that. I didn't want to do that. So I tried a lot of natural things, but nothing was consistent. Nothing would work consistently for me. And so I was kind of trying to figure it out. I couldn't figure out why this was happening. And then I had babies. And, everybody says, when you have babies, it gets better. So it did. That worked for me for a little while. And then I had my last baby. And then about, 3 years later, when I was done with him, and he's now 5, my cycle started getting bad again. I started having really bad cramps, and it was almost worse than before because I was almost like having these episodes where I would almost black out. I don't know if you've ever had that. It tends to be kind of a common thing for people, but I think a lot of women end up going the birth control route or whatever, so they never get to that point. But it's not that uncommon, actually. And it's the thing with the hormones. So anyways, I was kind of concerned, and as a mom with 4 kids, homeschooling, it was kind of scary once we were out, and I had taken them to a class, and I knew that my cycle had just started, and I thought I would kind of be able to gauge how I felt, and I thought I'm going to be okay, and then when I get home, I'll probably feel bad, but I think I'm going to be okay. I can take them. So I took them, and then as I was sitting there through this hour-long class, I just started to feel worse and worse. And I'm like, my blood was draining from my face, but I couldn't see myself. So there was a fellow parent there sitting with me, and he's like, hey, are you okay? Like, yeah, I think I'm okay. I didn't want to share anything, I'm like, okay, the class is almost over. And I got up to take the kids out, and I almost blacked out, and their teacher helped me, and it was close to our home. It's a small town. So somebody drove us home, and that was kind of like, okay, I've got to figure something out. I can't function like this. So I reached out to Jennifer, who Lisa mentioned is our team leader. And I reached out to her, and I didn't have a membership at this point. I had just bought some Breathe for my kids from retail. That was how I first started with doTERRA. So I reached out to Jennifer because I had attended a class, but online, but I hadn't ever bought. So I reached out and I was like, hey, do you have anything that could help me with this? And she said, yes. So we got on a call, and she enrolled me with stuff to help with my cycle. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. What do I need to do? So she told me the things that she recommended were deep blue oil for the cramps, and then clary sage and clary calm. Those were the first ones that she recommended. And so she told me how to use them. And the next month that my cycle came around was night and day. It was so good. I was just didn't feel anything. and I followed it to a T. And then like the next month I kind of got lazy. So I was like, you know, and then I kind of felt it. And so as I've learned that, you know, like what Shirley was saying, be consistent, keep using your oils, and it works. So for me, when I'm consistent with my oils, it's like night and day. So I'm good. And even if like I'm not consistent, so the Clary Calm I use as a preventative. So I do it throughout the month when I'm not on my cycle because I have such bad issues. But if for whatever reason I haven't been as consistent with that, and so my cycle starts and I'm feeling kind of bad, I can use, I like to use the Clary Sage and then the Deep Blue, and a heating pad is good too.
Yes.
But I have a 14-year-old daughter. So I was concerned, you know, when my daughters get to that age, what are they going to experience? And so my 14-year-old daughter is now having her menstrual cycle, and it has been such a blessing to have these oils to be able to help her, because she knows what to grab. She uses the Clary Calm, and then she also uses the Clary Sage, and we figured out the right combo for her because we were trying the Deep Blue oil for her cramps. I was trying everything because she will have them bad like me, but hers is not near as bad as my experience was because we're able to curb it like really quickly with oils now. We have tools. So for her, Aroma Touch is better for cramps. She prefers Aroma Touch, so that's all her. I'm like, okay. When I smell the Aroma Touch, I know what's going on. I'm like, okay. And she just knows what to grab. And then Deep Blue Rub also, I recommend that if you struggle with that. But that's our testimony. And I'm just so grateful to have these tools in our home for my girls and myself.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, next giveaway. I don't have Clary Calm. How about, do you think peppermint would be helpful at all, Nicole? Could be, huh?
Peppermint, actually, we'd use that. My daughter sometimes feels like she gets a little nauseous sometimes too, so I'll have her just smell the peppermint, and that works good too. So we do use that too.
Okay, cool. All right. So this one, because we were to invite people who hadn't used oils before, do I have anybody with me tonight who has never used a doTERRA oil? Anyone? All right, people. We have to get out there and get the non-users in here. Let's see. Since everybody has used it, how about I will give this away to people who have hot flashes. First person to say I have a hot flash, I will send you peppermint. Is there anybody here who needs a peppermint? Quickly.
Sometimes.
Oh, yay! Glenda, I gotcha. All right. So Glenda, who invited you, sweet gal?
Kathy.
Kathy Gobble. Okay, Kathy, I need to get her address from you so that I can mail this away. Okay, so help me keep track. So far, Kathy's team, Debbie and Glenda. So if you'd write that down for me, I'd be so grateful. I should have had a piece of paper in here, shouldn't I? Okay, good. All right, Nicole, thank you so much. So the next person that I'm going to invite to share at this time is our Kimberly Green, and she's going to share her testimony with us. Go, Kimberly.
So I feel like I've shared like my most powerful testimony. I would like to tell you my most recent testimony. That was a wow, these really work kind of aha moment for me.
Okay.
I've been using oils for probably 7 years, and I use them very consistently with lifelong vitality, all that good stuff. It's taken care of a lot of my core issues. But last week I did something, I don't know, it was kind of silly and weird, but I dropped an oven mitt behind in my drawer. Like it just dropped to the back of the drawer, and I had to go open the bottom drawer of the whole cabinet and reach under, and I got such a severe cramp. It was like, it went from 0 to 10 in 2 seconds. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even move my neck right now. So of course I was like, grab something. And I grabbed some Deep Blue and I rubbed it on just to like a pea size. It didn't take very much, but I just kind of rubbed it in. And I was literally like crying. It was so debilitating. In about 5 minutes, it went from a 10 to a 5. And about 10 minutes after that, I was like feeling normal again. And all I did was put on the Deep Blue rub one time.
Awesome.
It was amazing.
Awesome.
I was shocked. I mean, it's like, I know they work, but that was fast and amazing. So that was one of the things I want to share. Another thing I want to share real quick. We don't cover elder care a whole lot when we go over, our oils. So I just wanted to share briefly about caring for my elderly parents. They get wounds easily because elder skin gets very thin. And I have found that Correct X is really awesome when you want to put on a Band-Aid. And so I found, certain Band-Aids, like the Band-Aid brand, is too sticky. It will actually peel their skin. So I have to find an off-brand. Top Care seems to work really well for me, but I have to find an off-brand that's not the flexible, sticky kind. The other thing is when we get larger wounds, I have to use a gauze, and I buy this stretchy bandage tape that sticks to itself. It doesn't stick to skin. So that's been really awesome. I can't tell you how many times one of my parents has gone into the hospital and they'll put an IV on them and they'll just use the regular IV tape, right? Well, when they go to take it off, they cause a wound about 1 inch wide and 3 inches long. Well, that was, yeah. So every time if one of my parents had to go into the hospital, I would say, do you have tender tape or whatever they might call it? But that was one of the things that was like super good. And so whenever, that happened to my dad, he came home from the hospital and I was using Correct-X, tender tape, and gauze to get him through that period where that was a horrible wound. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And he was all healed up, right?
It healed up very well. Yes, and quickly.
Awesome.
Right now, my mom is getting some bed sores from laying still too long. And I've been able to take care of her with just a Band-Aid, Melaleuca, and Correct-X.
That's awesome.
So it went from a stage 1 to 2, and in less than a week, we're back to stage 1 again. It's healed up and it's not. I've learned that I have to shift her more. This is sort of it was a brand new development. Nothing has changed for her, but all of a sudden we had this thing going on, like her level of activity and so forth. So anyway, short and sweet.
No, that was awesome. We really haven't ever talked about that before, Kim. That was great. Okay, so I was going to do an oil, but Kim just reminded me how powerful Deep Blue Rub is. So I have 3 packets of Deep Blue Rub, and I would like to ask who has elderly people that they would like to keep one for themselves and share the other 2 with. What do you think? Yeah. Okay. So it's Karen, right? All right. Karen, Deep Blue Rub is coming to you. And Karen, whose team are you on? I know you've been here. Kimberly. Kim. Yes. Yep. Okay. So Kim, will you keep track of that for me, please? Thank you. And I'll get back to everyone after this. So, okay. Yay. All right. This is so fun. So I did Nicole, Kimberly, Michelle. Yeah, it's Michelle Zorn's turn to share a testimony with us. So please take it away, Michelle.
You got it, Lisa. So I want to talk a little bit. I'm hoping that the car lights stay on. I'm trying to get into a quiet place. And I started outside and the mosquitoes nearly took me away because I live in Florida and they never die here. They just grow up and have babies. So I'm in the car, and if I look at some point like just a floating head, give me a minute, I'll be right back. I wanted to talk about pain, and the kind of pain that I'm going to talk about is the kind that you can't do anything with. It's just debilitating. And you can take narcotics and it just knocks you out, but it doesn't handle the pain. And the testimony that I want to give is twofold, because my husband has had multiple surgeries, and his most recent surgery was reattaching his bicep. He tore his bicep completely in half,
Oof.
and it had to be reattached. Well, those narcotics only made him sleepy. They did not touch the level of pain that he was dealing with. So I brought out something that I knew worked because it had worked for me. If you hear that noise, that's me opening and closing the door. Anyway, back to the pain. I was at convention with some of these lovely ladies, and they can testify of how bad my pain had gotten.
Yes.
I had a back injury. I still have that back injury. It's probably 40 years old. I was in a car wreck when I was a little girl, standing up in the front seat next to my mom, because it was before we all knew that you're supposed to sit down and buckle up. I'm telling on myself. But I was in a car wreck when I was a little girl, and I think that's probably where that injury originated. But as I have aged and as I have had babies and had abdominal surgeries and all those kind of things that we do when we grow up and have life, that back injury has ebbed and flowed. I have had a chiropractor tell me that I'm going to blow that disc out one day and have to have surgery to fuse it. And I refuse to fuse it. So that back injury from time to time will rear its ugly head. And sometimes it's so bad that I cannot pick my feet up to walk. And I had walked. It was doTERRA convention, so we're going everywhere and seeing everything there is to see. And there's lots of walking that you do at any convention. But I had walked more than I would normally walk. And the next day, it was starting to bother me. And it had already bothered a little bit. And I started taking these oils in a capsule. Lisa gave me this wonderful protocol that we call the M-bomb, because you can't say morphine, but it's better than. It is my go-to. And I'll tell you what, those well, you know what? If you want to know the protocol, reach out to the person that invited you to this webinar, and I'll make sure you get that protocol. But I have also created a roller ball of this stuff.
Oh, love it.
This is what got my husband through recovery, because he could roll it on wherever it was hurting and take it in a capsule. So when you take it in a capsule, somebody said, put it in the chat. So I'm just going to tell you real quick. When you take it in a capsule, take 2 drops of each of these oils that I'm going to list in some type of food oil, preferably not fractionated coconut oil, maybe some olive oil or some grapeseed oil or almond oil, whatever you're going to bake cookies with, preferably not Crisco, but one of those friendly oils in the kitchen. Here we go with the lights again. I'm in the dark, girls. Okay, so pink pepper, marjoram, lemongrass, turmeric, copaiba, and frankincense.
That's her roller ball.
That's the roller ball. That is also what I would drop 2 of those drops into a veggie cap and top it off with some type of oil from the kitchen. Pop that baby in your mouth and wait a bit. As a matter of fact, the day that it was so bad and all the girls went to convention without me, and I was devastated that I could not go with them, I took a capsule of that every hour for the first 3 hours, and then one every 3 hours for the rest of the day. And I was able to get back up and get going.
Yeah.
And I want to just thank the leaders before me who have said consistency is the key, because not all leaders are consistent.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you guys for reminding me that sometimes my grump and my grouch is because I don't feel good. And I can take a pain pill and feel better, but not one that I had to go to the pharmacy for, one that I can create in my kitchen.
Yes, that was awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Woohoo. All right, so I'm thinking I'm going to save that one for Kelly's talk. I have this. You know what? I think that I have a bottle of pink pepper that I need to give away to
I need
somebody.
that.
Okay, Shirley wins.
Pink
All right.
pepper is awesome.
Yes.
Whoever wins this is going to be like the winner, because pink
Sure.
peppers.
Shirley won.
That's me. I
Yeah.
need it. I've never tried it.
Okay, Kathy, add Shirley to your team list, please. Kathy's team is taking everything home so far, people. So- All right. Thank you, Michelle, so much. I remember that convention. That convention was our last one, girls, wasn't it? When we were all together, it was the best. Someday, if you ever want to come to a different Zoom, I'll play the videos that are supposed to be top secret from our from our time in the big house. Guess Jennifer had us all play truth or dare. It was so funny, wasn't it? It was funny. Anyway, all righty. Kelly, woohoo! Kelly is going to share with us a really powerful testimony that included Dave, or will there be something about Kelly too, or will it be Dave, or what's happening here? I'm turning it over to Kelly now. Go, Kelly.
Hey, well, hello, everybody. Thanks for having us, Lisa. This is super fun because, as you know, which I don't know how many other people know, but when we moved to Tennessee last July, Dave left his job in sales in Sacramento, where we were, and we have come here, and we are 100% here on doTERRA. So he's essentially joined me. So part of that is he's been my guinea pig all these years with all these oils. And
this is true.
Yay, Dave!
He's such a good sport. I mean, we've done oils have gotten in the eyes. We've done all kinds of crazy mayhems over here, but I'll let him tell you, we hit a season where we had put him through a pretty intense cleanse. And so we decided we were at convention and with my mom and dad, because we would always go, the four of us, and we all went off the rails, like off keto and sugar, and we just ate everything. And this one paid a price when we got home. So I'll let you sit up and explain what happened.
So yeah, we went to town on the desserts and the sweets. And when I got home, I started to notice that I started to get like a rash on the back of my neck. And, so I didn't really think too much of it at first. Thought it was just irritated, and then it started to grow. So then I let Kelly know, and she looked at it. And I think at that point, we started doing a protocol for psoriasis. But then we started to notice that it was also it was growing in my scalp.
It turned into plaque psoriasis.
Yeah.
All his head, like all over his head. And he wears his hair, like this. We buzz it a 1 or 2 because, he's got some intense Italian hair. So we keep it nice and tight. And when I took one look at this, and I'm like, oh.
You can fill gift baskets with my hair if it grew long enough.
So he's in sales, right? He was in sales. And so he was interacting with customers all day long. And it was embarrassing because it was unsightly.
Yeah, they were holes. I mean, there were holes on my head, and the skin was as soft as a baby's butt.
Well, he had developed alopecia at this point because the plaque psoriasis, we would chip away at it at night. I would soften it with like just coconut oil, fractionated coconut oil. No, I know that was an astringent. Pro tip, fractionated coconut oil is an astringent. If you are dealing with a dermal issue, a dermis issue, use your fatty oils like almond. Jojoba is the best. It's most like our skin. We love almond oil. I will use that. I almost never use fractionated coconut oil in my rollerballs because I don't want an astringent type of a situation happening. But anyway, so we mixed a fatty oil with some other oils like lavender to soften it. And then I would come with the fine tooth comb and just kind of try and lift it. Well, that ended up pulling so much of his hair out with some of them that it didn't grow back. It was alopecia, where the skin is literally feels like baby pig skin, you know, like, or a baby's bottom, like nothing there, not even pores. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
did we
and
do?
so we went to the doctor and
Because we get a diagnosis before we go just haywire on a rash this bad. I mean, it got so bad where it was cracking on the back of his head because, you know, it was just intense. It was awful.
yeah, so we went to the doctor and he looked at it and said, yeah, so you have alopecia. There's no known cure for that. I could feel heat radiating on my right side where my wife was sitting. She was sitting there biting her tongue, not saying a word, knowing that she's got it. She just wanted to hear what he had to say to make sure and to kind of, I don't know, qualify what we thought it was.
Well, a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Okay, before I go trudging ahead, as I know we now need to, because I understand, which I'll explain briefly, what that means. So most of us might jump straight to, I got to get something on that to calm it down, which yes, we can do that. Our oils work wonderful as Band-Aids as well, while we get to, you know, see if we can deal with the root issue. So when you have your skin's your largest organ. So when it starts screaming at you, it's kind of the final frontier to get your attention. Your body's speaking to you, that it's telling you your gut flora is off. You have got to go to your gut. So looking back on the timeline, cleaning him out so much, and then just throwing all of the tar and crap back in there, just tossed him so far out of balance that his body couldn't get any traction on finding a good balance in his gut flora and the biome in there. So we went to town. We absolutely no sugar. We cut a lot of simple carbs, and he also went to a food allergist, and we got his blood test ran for everything. And like we realized he couldn't eat things like cherries or almonds. He was eating almonds, almond milk in his coffee every day.
Cherries. I don't even like cherries.
Well,
So,
see, that is with May. I mean, you know what I mean? Like the most bizarre things, and a lot of things he would eat. So we cut those things out. We brought in GX Assist. We did that for 10 days. And to be honest with you, I had watched a video from Dr. Hill from back in the day about using the GX Assist. And he said 10 days is kind of a good baseline number. But if you are feeling like you need a little more, you can pull either direction on that number. You can go 7 days, you can go 14, 15 days. You just listen to your body. As long as when you are done with that GX Assist, you double replenish with that PB Assist. We do an AM and a PM because that GX Assist killed everything. Okay. It's no lover of germ, you know, like, oh, you're the good germ, we won't kill you. Like an antibiotic goes in, right? And just kills everything. And then you replenish your flora with a probiotic. So instead of using that nasty antibiotic that leaves horrible side effects in your body, we just go to GX Assist. Oregano will do it too, but there was a term, if doTERRA did it, why reinvent the wheel? So we just go to that GX Assist when I know we need a probiotic or an antibiotic in the family. So we did about 15 days GX Assist, and then we just pummeled him with PB Assist. And there was some other things, definitely lifelong vitality. We never go without that. That is the foundation. And it creates a really good jumping off platform for the body to keep in balance. And the oils are more efficient and effective, and you need less assistance because that foundation is there. But when you bring in like the probiotic Terrazyme is a major, major powerhouse in this because it breaks down all of that, much so to like water, so that your body can absorb all of it instead of any of it running through you. Also, I wanted to side note for the neuropathy. Was that Shirley?
Yeah.
That's it now. So Terrazyme has a protein in there that actually will support the damaged nerves that are creating the neuropathy. And I learned that from Boyd Truman.
Good to know.
Yeah. And you can take up to like 9 to 10 to 15 of those a day, depending on where your sweet spot is with it supporting your neuropathy. So I don't know, maybe work with her on that, whoever mentors and leads Shirley the most, and work with that.
Kathy's daughter.
90 a day of those, you're safe. So you can really play around with those Terrazyme and see if you can find some relief. But how long was it that we were doing protocol and his hair? I have pictures of along the way of his hair starting to grow back. And then now, I mean, you want to show him the back of your head?
Yeah, let's see. Woohoo! Looks great, Dave. Nothing on his neck. No bald spots.
That looks like Swiss teeth back there.
Yeah,
There's
they were
holes everywhere.
It was crazy. They made perfect circumference of a circle where he would lose his hair. It was crazy. So that's a big deal, guys. I mean, when you go out there, they will tell you there's no cure for that. Use a steroid cream. You can use this for that. And they've never for a minute talked to you about your guts. And I think that's why the heat was radiating off of me, because I was like, man, I can't believe how far you're missing this mark right now, buddy. You're a doctor. But not to be surprised. And I'm not anti-medicine. I love the majority of medical field. We need you. But in my first line of defense is doTERRA.
That's awesome. Such an awesome testimony. I think wasn't it you, Kelly, who was talking to me about the second brain? And I just went blank that day. Wasn't that you? You go, it's your second brain, Lisa. And I'm like, my second brain? What? I started looking for it. Couldn't find it anywhere.
Yes, your gut is your second brain. And the reason that we say that, I actually have the book I ordered. I highly recommend you guys, if this stuff really, did you go back to the doctor? Oh no, he was so anti anything natural. It wasn't worth it, because I will try and educate a doctor if I can. Gail asked in the chat if we went to that doctor, and we did not. But what was I just saying?
I forgot.
Oh, the second brain. Okay, so the gut and the brain are connected by the vagus nerve, and you can look up vagus nerve. You can go on Amazon. There's all kinds of really great books on what that connection is. You know, why when you hear bad news, you feel nauseous. You know, you hear, but you're feeling it in your guts.
Yes.
So directly connected. So when we are, and vice versa. So my son struggles in his digestive system. He was injured in it very young. And so what has happened as he's gotten older is, because we always are working on his guts, his brain does struggle. And so now he's much better. But in his younger elementary school days, his focus was so bad, it was painful to watch. He could not keep focus with you, and he wanted to. So as we took out the food dyes, as much processed sugar as possible, you can see him emerge, and he's got focus and clarity. So I went to his gut, and it cleared up his focus. So that's why it is so beyond important to make sure that we are always taking that PB assist with that Terrazyme along with the lifelong vitality, because it's kind of like think of it as like this perfect bubble world of nutrition to really right probably 90% of the wrongs that are going on with our, not only physical health, but mental and emotional. Because again, if our brain is affected by our guts' bad health, then how are we going to be able to process our emotions? How are we not going to be struggling with anxiety, panic attacks, fear, sad, all of the emotions, the grief, the erratic thoughts of maybe hurting ourselves? Those things can absolutely be helped with going to your gut. So.
Yes, Ami, PB Assist and Terrazyme and LLB daily. So I just have one more question for you, Kelly and Dave. Have you stayed a sugar-free family then? Have you just decided oh, Dave is looking at the ceiling.
We do our best. I have a 14-year-old son.
It's a struggle.
It is. The struggle is real. It's
This-
real.
And it's like donuts. I can't keep them away from donuts. You know, they're like a moth to a flame. So, you know, you guys, we do our best. And you know what? As soon as we start seeing some little things pop up, we know exactly what's going on, and we know what to do.
Yeah.
So it's empowering, you know, because we're gonna mess up and we're gonna do those things. I mean, it's just who we are. You know, there's zero of us that are gonna be perfect, but it sure makes it nice to know that you've got doTERRA to lean on, because it has literally never let us down. I've been involved in doTERRA for 7 years, and I've been working the business side of it for 6 years. And so it's just, we have seen incredible things.
Yeah, it's awesome. So awesome. I know that we've shared in times past that 80% of your immune system is in your gut. It's your brain, you know? So anytime you can't find your second brain, go work on your gut, okay? And then you'll have something that you can pull out. Did you guys, I'm weird. Have you ever been in a place where you kind of wish that you had some sort of a buckle on your head and you could take your brain out and then go for a walk and then bring it back and put it back in? Or is it just me?
No, yes.
You know, I figured God was really smart because we live in a country full of thieves. And if you take yours out, somebody else will grab it and that'll be that. So anyway, I have lavender, which was one of the oils that Kelly shared about helping with a skin issue. Is there anyone who has a skin issue that would like
I
to
do.
have this bottle of lavender? Who is I do?
I do. Glenda does.
Glenda
I-
does. Now, Glenda, did you win something already?
I did.
Okay. Do you
That's
want to do
fine.
a trade? Do you want to have?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to give
Yes.
you the lavender, and that sets free the what was
Peppermint.
the peppermint. Okay, peppermint is back. It's back. Does anybody have headaches
Yes.
or tummy issues? A hot beauty. Okay, was that? Who said yes first? Somebody said yes with their words.
Shamika.
Shamika. All right, Shamika, you get the peppermint. Okay.
Thank
Janine, come again because Lisa's always giving stuff away. So we're going to go ahead and end this real quickly. There's just a couple of things I'd like to share. Thank you for hanging in there. We went just a little bit over an hour. Awesome job, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Aren't testimonies powerful? So I just want to say that at least every 4 weeks, I'm going to come back to a testimony time because these are powerful. And I didn't even get to share mine, which some of you have heard, some of you haven't. Really powerful. So in the next third webinar, I think we'll do it. We'll do testimonies again. So power up. Get ready, come back and share your testimonies. And on that note, if any of you have been considering doTERRA and you don't have a membership with us yet, please talk to the person who invited you. If you have some kind of an issue, they're going to work with you and help you come up with protocols to address it. And then if there's anybody here who has never seen the business presentation and you would like to stay, my gift is a keychain that will have peppermint, lavender, and wild orange. I will put 3 samples in a keychain for you. So if you want to stay and watch the presentation, there you go. There's a carrot on a stick. And the rest of you, thank you for being with us, and you are free to go. So I will just hang here. I'll stop the recording. Here we go. Stop. Thanks again, everyone.